The room was soaked in gold light, low, warm, seductive. The kind that makes even sin look soft. Her perfume hit first, floating in the air like a warning in disguise. Jasmine. Always jasmine. Sweet, sharp, and unforgettable. She stood by the window in nothing but a silk robe, cinched loosely like she wanted it to fall. Her glass of wine dangled from her hand, half full, untouched. The kind of woman who didn't drink to get drunk, just to slow time enough for regret to catch up later. "Tell me," she said, her voice just above a whisper, "do you want me, or are you just bored with being good?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. My hands found the hem of her robe, fingers brushing skin warm from the anticipation. Her lips barely moved, but her breath caught. And just before things got too hot for forgiveness. Studio microphone. Hey. Before we go deeper, you already know what to do. If this story's got your pulse racing, your mind wandering where it probably shouldn't, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who still believes secrets don't leave stains. Now buckle in, because this isn't just about lust. This is about the kind of betrayal you whisper about years later when the lights are off and the truth still tastes like her perfume. Let me tell you how it started. I wasn't looking for trouble. I was just looking for a decent Saturday. It was brunch. You know the type: bottomless mimosas, sunlight pretending to be innocence, and friends talking too loud over overpriced eggs. I was halfway through a dry waffle when she walked in. She wasn't supposed to matter. I didn't even notice her at first until she laughed. It wasn't even a big laugh. Just one of those soft, breathy giggles women give when they're acting like they're not interested but already know they're the room's gravity. She wasn't with her husband. She was with her friend, Mel, a woman I casually knew from a past life. They hugged our side of the table, pulling up chairs, settling in like temptation often does, uninvited and suddenly familiar. "Hi," she said. Her eyes locked on mine like she'd met me in a dream once. Her name? Let's just say it started with an L. And no, I'm not giving you more than that. You don't name women like her. You survive them. She was married. The kind of married that had a ring too big and a smile too practiced. You know the type: perfection on the outside, but her eyes kept scanning the room like she was missing something invisible. She sat beside me. Close. Closer than brunch etiquette allows. "You don't smile much," she said, poking at my ribs with her elbow like we'd shared some inside joke. "You a brooder?" I shrugged. Maybe I just haven't been given a reason. That earned me a full smile. Slow. Dangerous. Mel raised a brow. "He's single, by the way." I sipped my drink. Didn't correct her. Neither did Elle. Fast forward a week. She texted me. She told me it was harmless. That she found me interesting. That her husband worked too much. That her days were empty, and her nights colder than they should be. "I'm not trying to do anything messy," she wrote. "I just want to feel seen." I should have stopped it right there. But I didn't. Instead, I sent back. "Where do you want to be seen?" We met for drinks a week later. Some rooftop bar in Midtown. The kind with string lights and fake laughter. She showed up in a backless red dress that didn't belong on a wife, but on a problem. And that night she was a problem. We talked about everything and nothing. How marriages don't always feel like partnerships. How loneliness isn't always loud. How attraction doesn't ask permission. She licked her lips every time she looked at mine. By the third drink, we stopped pretending. She leaned in, brushing my knee with hers under the table. Her voice dropped an octave, low, husky, deliberate. "Do you want to kiss me?" I looked her in the eyes. "Do you want to be kissed?" She didn't answer. She just leaned in. I didn't kiss her. Not yet. You see, some affairs are accidents, clumsy, sudden, regretted in the morning. This wasn't that. This was foreplay drawn over weeks, slow and designed like art. Our next meeting was a hotel bar. She walked in wearing a trench coat. Nothing underneath. That wasn't a guess. She told me. "I want you to look at me like you did at brunch," she whispered. "But this time, I want you to touch me, too." I didn't waste time. Her robe hits the floor. The lights are soft. The air is thick. Her skin is heat and hunger and history waiting to be rewritten. She pulls me onto the bed like she's claiming territory. And in that moment, I forget every good man I ever tried to be. But let me pause there. Let me take you back to what matters more than sex. Because this isn't just about her body. It's about how she made me need her like air, even though she belonged to someone else. It's about how she smiled when she lied, and how I let her lie over and over because her lies tasted better than most people's truths. I remember the first time I realized I wasn't the only one. Yeah. That happened too. But that's not until chapter 3. So stay with me. Because what we had behind that hotel door? That was just the beginning. And beginnings like this? They always end in fire. Backhand index pointing right. If you're still listening, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Share this story. Like the video. Because I'm not holding back. Not tonight. Not with this one. Not when the truth feels this damn good. End of chapter 1. Next up, chapter 2, the way her eyes said yes. Coming up, their first full affair, her secrets, and his descent into obsession. I used to think the most dangerous part of an affair was the moment lips met skin. I was wrong. The real danger is the look before it happens, the moment her eyes tell you it's already too late. That she's yours. That she wants to be taken. That she's already betrayed someone in her mind. And now, all that's left is the body. The next time I saw her was a Tuesday. She texted me. "He's working late. I'm bored. Come save me from my perfectly organized prison." She sent an address. Not a hotel. A little house in the suburbs. White fences. Hydrangeas in bloom. A mailbox with their last name carved in bold letters. I sat in my car for 5 minutes, just watching the porch lights blink on like nothing was wrong inside. I wasn't just a guest. I was a ghost walking into someone else's life. She answered the door in yoga pants and a tank top, no makeup, hair up in a bun, still looking like sin dressed down. "Wanna come in?" she said, playful like this was normal. I stepped inside. And just like that, I was standing on another man's hardwood floor. Where he probably stood kissing her forehead before work. Where he probably thought love still lived. She made tea. We sat on the couch like we were just friends catching up. But the way her leg brushed mine told the truth. So did the way her hand lingered when she passed me the cup. "This is weird," she said, grinning. "You in my house. Me being bad." I raised an eyebrow. "You feel guilty?" She shook her head. "No. I feel free." Then her eyes met mine. And they said yes. Before I could speak, she kissed me. It wasn't soft. It wasn't hesitant. It was hungry. We didn't make it to the bedroom. The couch groaned under us, her body folded into mine, her breath hot on my neck. I kissed her like I wanted to own her. She kissed me like she wanted to forget him. Clothes disappeared between gasps and hands. Her wedding ring hit the floor with a tiny clink. And just like that, she wasn't his wife anymore. Not for that hour. She was mine. Afterward, we lay tangled in silence. Her head on my chest, fingers tracing circles like she was drawing maps she couldn't follow. I asked, "What are we doing?" She replied, "Surviving." I wish I could tell you that was the only time. It wasn't. The next few weeks were a blur of stolen hours and unlocked doors. Hotel rooms. Quick lunches that turned into make-out sessions in the backseat of her SUV. I learned everything about her. What time her husband got home. What brand of wine made her flirty. What song made her close her eyes and sway like no one had touched her in years. And she learned me too. She knew I liked it when she didn't wear panties. Knew that my voice deepened when I was close. Knew how to make me forget any woman who came before her. She became the routine I never knew I craved. One night, we met at a downtown bar. It was loud. Dark. Packed. But to me, it was just her. She wore a black dress that hugged her like it had secrets too. She pressed close to me in the booth, her breath sweet with gin and mischief. I thought about you this morning, she whispered, fingers brushing my thigh. When he kissed me goodbye, all I saw was your face. I swallowed hard. That's the night I realized I wasn't just having sex with someone's wife. I was falling for her. Studio microphone pause for a second. If this part of the story has you locked in, you already know what I'm gonna say. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Share this with someone who knows how messy love can get when the truth stays quiet. Because we're not even halfway into the fire yet. Back to her. It wasn't just the sex that had me addicted. It was the way she made me feel chosen. Like she could have picked anyone, but she kept coming back to me. Like I was the drug she didn't want to quit. But somewhere inside, I knew I wasn't the only one chasing that high. One day, I asked her directly, "Are you seeing someone else?" She didn't flinch. "Are you?" I shook my head. She smirked. "Then don't worry about me." I should have walked away. Instead, I kissed her harder than I ever had before. A few days later, we were back in the hotel. The same one from the first night. Room 604. She undressed slowly, like she was peeling off responsibility. I kissed every inch of her, memorizing her like a prayer I didn't deserve to say. But just as we were tangled in the sheets, breathless and raw, she whispered something that stopped me cold. "God. I needed this, Daniel. My name isn't Daniel." She froze. I pulled back. She tried to laugh it off. Just a slip. But her eyes? They weren't saying yes anymore. They were saying oops. We finished anyway. Because that's what broken people do when they're too far in. We lie with our bodies and pretend our hearts didn't hear a damn thing. Afterward, I sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. "Who's Daniel?" I asked, not looking at her. She didn't answer. She just rolled over, pulled the blanket tighter, and said, "Let's not ruin this." That was the first night I didn't stay till morning. End of chapter 2. Next, chapter 3, Between the Sheets. Coming up, betrayal confirmed, obsession deepens, and passion turns dangerous. Would you like me to begin chapter 3 next? Sex never fixes anything. But it can sure as hell delay the fall. That night, after she called me Daniel, I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself it was just a slip, just a name, just a ghost from a past fling maybe. But ghosts don't moan in your ear. Ghosts don't show up in her text messages at 2:11 a.m. Yeah. I saw it. It happened a few days later. She was in the bathroom of yet another hotel, brushing her teeth, humming like she wasn't wrecking two lives, his and mine. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Without thinking, I glanced. Daniel Blackheart. Still thinking about that night. Let me know when he's out again. I didn't touch it. I didn't confront her. I just sat there naked, used, furious, and waited for her to come back to bed. When she did, she curled into me like nothing had changed. Like we were still the only liars in the room. The thing is, I didn't walk away. I couldn't. Because by then, it wasn't about love anymore. It was addiction. Her skin. Her scent. The way she made me feel like I mattered, even when I didn't. Studio microphone, let me break the fourth wall for a second. If you're still listening right now, then you're already deep in this mess with me. And I respect that. So take 2 seconds, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's ever loved someone they had no right touching. Because we're only getting deeper. The next time I saw her, I tried to play it cool. I didn't ask about Daniel. Didn't ask why he had a heart next to his name. Instead, I kissed her hard the moment she walked in. Pushed her up against the door like she was oxygen and I'd been choking. She liked it that way, rough, reckless. "Someone's missed me," she whispered. "You have no idea," I replied. That night? We didn't make love. We fought with our bodies. She bit my lip. I pulled her hair. She scratched down my back like she was punishing me for loving her. I slammed her into the mattress with a kind of rage I didn't even know I had. And through it all, every gasp, every shiver, every whimper, she smiled. Afterwards, she lay there, sweaty, lips swollen, sheets tangled around her thighs. She looked at me, eyes soft, and said, "Do you want me to leave him?" I blinked. "What?" She sat up, hair a wild mess of sex and lies. "If I left him, would you want all of me?" I should have said no. I should have told her I didn't want to be the next man she'd lie to. But I said, yeah. And I meant it. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. No note. No message. Just lipstick on my pillowcase and her scent on my skin. I didn't hear from her for 4 days. 4 days of spiraling. 4 days of checking my phone every 10 minutes. 4 days of replaying that message from Daniel in my head like a broken chorus. Still thinking about that night. Still thinking about that night. Still. On the 5th day, I got a text. "Sorry. Things got complicated. Boo." I said yes. Of course I did. We met at the hotel, our spot. Room 604 again. She walked in like she hadn't disappeared. Black heels. Red lips. Sunglasses on inside. I stood by the window, arms folded, trying to look colder than I felt. "You okay?" she asked, stepping in slowly. "Are you?" She didn't answer. Just dropped her purse and came over to me. She put her hands on my chest, eyes searching mine. "I want to forget everything tonight," she whispered. And so we did. We forgot it all. Who we were. What we were doing. Who we were betraying. We gave in completely. Every kiss was desperate. Every thrust was a lie we both agreed to believe for one more night. Her moans were louder than usual. My grip was tighter. She was in my lap, grinding like she needed to drown something. I bit her shoulder. She screamed. Afterwards, I lay there, spent, heart racing. She curled up beside me, her head on my chest. And then out of nowhere, she said, "I don't think I can leave him." Silence. She sat up, looking down at me like she owed me an apology but didn't know how to say it. "He's starting to notice," she whispered. "I think he suspects." I stared at the ceiling. "So what does that make me now?" I asked. She didn't answer. Didn't have to. We both knew the truth. I was a secret. A side dish. A fix she didn't want to give up, but wouldn't fight for either. Still, I saw her again. And again. And again. Every time I swore it would be the last. But she'd call. Or text. Or send a photo of herself in lingerie, lying on her marital bed like a goddess of guilt. And I'd go running. I hated myself for it. But hate and hunger often sleep in the same bed. One night, I showed up drunk. Knocking on her door like a fool. She opened it in a towel, wet hair, eyes wide with panic. "What the hell are you doing?" she hissed. "I needed to see you," I slurred. "You can't be here." "He's home." I froze. Behind her, I could hear a man's voice coming from the TV. My chest tightened. "He's home?" I whispered. She pushed me back, frantic. "You need to go. Right now." That was the moment I realized. I wasn't even second anymore. I was nothing. She never texted that night. Never checked if I got home. Never said sorry. But 2 days later, she called. "I can't stop thinking about you," she whispered. "Come meet me." And like a damn fool, I did. You ever love someone who keeps you hungry? Not just for their body, but for their approval, their presence, their damn attention? That was her. She knew how to give you just enough to keep you starving. A kiss after silence. A miss you after 3 days of nothing. A body that felt like heaven, attached to a soul that had no intention of saving you. After that night when I showed up drunk at her door and almost ran into her husband, I thought I'd hit rock bottom. But I hadn't even scratched the surface. That night didn't end the affair. It just made it more addictive. More reckless. More real. We started meeting in her car, parked in random lots. Sometimes outside malls. Once behind a daycare. And more than a few times, parked outside a church, where the irony could have set the cross on fire. She'd pull up with sunglasses on, lips glossed, skin glowing like a woman who had no business sinning in daylight. I'd slide into the passenger seat, kiss her like we had 5 minutes before the world caught up. And sometimes that's all we had, 5 minutes of fumbling hands, her breath in my ear, her thighs around my waist. Then she'd fix her lipstick, wipe my scent from her neck, and drive off like she hadn't just committed emotional arson. I started pulling away. Told myself I'd stop answering. That I'd block her number. That I'd move on. But every time I tried, she showed up. One Sunday morning, I opened my door to find her standing there in a hoodie, no makeup, hair in a messy knot, eyes swollen like she'd been crying for hours. "I can't do this anymore," she said. I didn't say anything. I just stepped aside. She came in. Took off her shoes. Walked straight to my bedroom. She didn't want to talk. She wanted to be held. To be touched. To be worshipped. And I gave it to her. Every inch. Every ounce of hate and want and need I had for her. Right there. Between the sheets we'd tangled 100 times before. She cried after. Silent, slow tears. She wasn't loud when she was sad. She just got quiet. "I don't know who I am anymore," she said into my chest. And I didn't either. Studio microphone, let's hit pause. If this is hitting home, if you've ever been someone's secret, someone's habit, someone's mistake, smash that like button. Share this. Subscribe. Because this story? It's not about happily ever after. It's about what happens when love turns into a drug, and the high starts killing you slowly. Back to her. One night, she forgot her phone on my nightstand. It buzzed once. Then again. Then 5 times in under a minute. Curiosity got the better of me. I told myself I wouldn't open it. But I did. Different names. Different messages. Last night was unreal. Can't wait to see you again. You drive me insane. Still tasting you. I dreamed about you last night. Don't make me wait another week. I didn't recognize the names. Not Daniel. Not anyone I'd heard her mention. Just initials. First names. On. First names. One guy even sent a photo. Her legs, open, in black lace I'd never seen her wear for me. I stared at the screen like I'd been punched. This wasn't about her cheating on her husband anymore. She was cheating on me. On all of us. She came out of the bathroom, humming, towel around her waist, glowing like she just confessed to God and been forgiven. I held up the phone. What the F asterisk 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 is this? Her smile froze. Then, she blinked, once, twice. And said, "You went through my phone?" Like I was the problem. Who are they? I snapped. She took the phone, set it down gently, and sat on the edge of the bed like she was about to teach me something. "They're no one," she said. "I was someone too once," I shot back. She paused. Then shrugged. "You're still someone. Just not the someone." And that was it. That moment? That sentence? It cracked something in me I didn't even know was fragile. I told her to leave. She did. No tears. No fight. Just slipped her clothes back on, reapplied her lipstick, and walked out like she didn't just set fire to my last thread of dignity. The next few days? Hell. Pure, spiraling hell. I tried to move on. Tried to erase her. Even slept with someone else, but I couldn't finish. She was in my head. On my skin. Beneath my damn eyelids when I closed my eyes. And then, because of course she would. She texted. "I miss your mouth." That was it. 4 words. And like the weak, ruined man I'd become, I replied. Room 604, 8 p.m. She showed up. Of course she did. In a trench coat. Of course she did. No apologies. No explanations. Just unwrapped herself like a gift nobody deserved and gave me everything. We didn't speak. We just sweated and groaned and bit and clawed and gasped until we were nothing but tangled bodies and broken pride. Afterwards, I lit a cigarette I didn't even want and asked, "Why me?" She rolled over, hair a mess, eyes distant. "You were easy." I didn't cry. Didn't yell. Didn't break anything. I just nodded. Because she was right. I was never her soulmate. Never her future. I was her mirror. The reflection of all the dark, dirty things she wanted to feel without ruining her picture-perfect life. I was a confession she never had to make. A name she'd never say out loud. A mistake she'd keep making until it stopped giving her a thrill. And still, I let her stay the night. You can feel when something is ending. The room gets quieter. The kisses last longer, but land lighter. And the eyes? They stop meeting yours like they used to. I didn't know that night would be the last. But my body knew. Some part of me did. She came over in silence. No texts. No teasing. No lipstick selfies. She just showed up. Wearing a gray hoodie, leggings, no makeup, eyes puffy. No trench coat. No heels. No lingerie. She looked like real life. And it scared the hell out of me. I opened the door. "You okay?" She stepped inside, brushed past me without a word. I followed her to the bedroom. She sat on the edge of the bed, head bowed, fingers twisting in her lap like she was trying to squeeze out guilt from her skin. Then she whispered it. Low. Barely audible. "He found out." I didn't speak. Didn't breathe. Just stood there as every lie we'd lived came crashing down around us. "How?" I asked. She let out a shaky breath. "Daniel told him." I blinked. "Daniel? Your other affair partner Daniel?" She winced. "He didn't know about you. But he saw a message, things unraveled." I confessed enough to save my sanity but not enough to destroy everything. "So what now?" I asked, half hoping she'd say us. She looked up. And I knew. That look? It wasn't one that said "I love you." It said, "I'm going back." Back to him. Back to the lie that paid the mortgage. Back to the man who still kissed her forehead and didn't know how to touch her like I did. But I still touched her that night. One last time. We made love. Not sex. Not passion. Not rage. Love. Raw. Quiet. Almost respectful. She took off her clothes like she was shedding skin, not seducing. I kissed her like a man memorizing every freckle, every scar. She cried halfway through, face buried in my chest. I didn't ask why. I already knew. When we finished, we didn't speak. Just lay there. Hands tangled. Breath sinking. She whispered, "I never expected to care about you." I laughed once. Bitter. But you did? She nodded. I did. I still do. But it doesn't matter, does it? The sun was starting to rise. Golden streaks leaked through the blinds, touching her skin like a final blessing. She stood. Dressed slowly. No rush. No drama. She grabbed her purse, looked back at me one last time. "Thank you for seeing me when no one else did." And then she was gone. No text the next day. No call. No goodbye message. Just silence. Heavy. Complete. 3 weeks. That's how long it took before I saw her again. Not in person. But online. Her husband posted an anniversary photo. Big smile. Big ring. Bigger lie. The caption? 9 years strong. Through every storm. I love you. She commented. To forever, baby ring kiss mark. I stared at it for a full minute. Then I laughed. Not out of joy. Out of madness. Out of knowing. Out of the cruel, beautiful irony of being erased so cleanly by someone who had once